Hey everyone! So, episode 4 of Chai with Chhavi now. Hi everyone who's joining. I'm so excited today. I have the Jikaria sisters coming on, and with all this going on with the quarantine, I've been spending a lot of time on TikTok. So they came up on my feed. I was like, oh my god, they're so good. I got to know them. They're super sweet. So I had to have them come on and talk to them. So let me pull them up and let's start our discussion. Hey guys, to everyone who's joining.
Hi.
Hey guys, how are you? Good. How are you?
Good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, all good. How's everything going? How's everything with quarantine and have things started opening up?
Yeah, I think everything in New York is starting to open up slowly. I think they're going into phase 2 of opening up. So hopefully soon everything will be kind of back to normal. What about in New Jersey right now? How's everything there?
It's very similar. Things are starting to open up, but at the same time, I feel like I'm still very cautious about if I want to go out or not.
Yeah.
I'm still quarantined inside.
Exactly.
But thank you guys so much for coming on. I'm so excited to talk to you. There's so much I have to ask.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. We're so excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start off by introducing who are the Jikaria sisters.
Sure, so I'm Oni.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Ash. And we are originally from Brooklyn, New York. We started dancing at a young age, and then now we're back home from quarantine, and we're just making videos together, and it's just been really fun hanging out with my sisters and doing this together.
So this whole thing started because of quarantine.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So before quarantine started, we were all in different places. Rich and Ash were both in college in Georgia, and I was in grad school in New Hampshire. So we were all in different places. I don't think we've been living together for the past 10 years, probably, since I went to college. But quarantine somehow brought us all together, and we started dancing again, which was really awesome because it was something that we always wanted to do, but never really had the opportunity to.
So you've been dancing your entire life, right? Like what age did you start, and what were your dance journeys like?
Yeah, so we actually grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and in Brooklyn there is a very large Russian American community there. So our mom actually enrolled us in Russian ballet classes, very classical Russian ballet, and we all enrolled when we were at the age of 3, and ever since then we basically did ballet every day of our lives, and then that kind of opened up more opportunities into other dance styles that we wanted to explore. So when we were each 5 years old, we started taking Bharatanatyam classes. So that was our Indian classical training. And then we also took some Latin classes. And then we all went to a middle school. It was a gifted and talented middle school in Brooklyn. And we majored in dance. So we would take academic classes during the day, but then we'd also take dance classes. So we got to train in jazz and lyrical. That was a lot more technical. And then after that, that's when we kind of went into our own paths. So I went to a different high school than they did. I went to a performing arts high school called LaGuardia, which is in Manhattan. It's right across from Lincoln Center, and I majored in dance there too, and I basically trained to be a professional dancer. So that was really fun because I wanted to pursue dance, and then after that, I ended up going to college. I go to Georgia Tech, where I'm on the dance team, so I get to pursue my passion there as well. I get to be a dancer there. But do y'all want to talk about what you guys do in terms of dance now?
Yeah, so as Ashika mentioned, we all had very similar dance training growing up, and then after high school, I started college, and when I went to college, I decided that I wanted to join the NISI Dance Network, the collegiate dance team. So I ended up joining the Ross team at college, and then it was really fun. It was very different from anything that we'd ever really done before. But then after 3 years of doing that, I decided that I also really want to try Bhangra, so I did Bhangra for a year. So it's cool to kind of get that different experience with different dance styles.
Yeah, and for me, after college, I became a dance fitness instructor, so really enjoyed doing that, Zumba and Bollywood fitness classes. And then I also trained semi-professionally in a bunch of Latin styles, so including salsa, bachata, kizomba, things like that. And I also was competing when I was doing that. So we've all kind of done a bunch of different things. Dance has always been a part of our lives.
That's so amazing. But like what really stood out to me was so you did Russian ballet and then you also did Bharatanatyam. And those are like two very different dance forms. Like I did Bharatanatyam. I can't even imagine doing ballet. Like how was that even like?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely such a unique experience getting to take those ballet classes, which is a very typical like American, you know, training, and that is very American. And then also going to those Indian classical dance classes during the weekends and having that Indian culture and learning about where our parents are from. So it was a unique experience. And in fact, it's really awesome to see that there are similarities between the two. Just like discipline is very prominent in both of them, and just like a lot of the technique is similar, which is so surprising. You wouldn't guess that, but it's really cool to like as we were growing up, we were able to see those similarities and bridge those gaps.
That's really cool because, you know, like I said, like you just think like, okay, Bharatanatyam involves so much, like you use your whole foot, you stomp, you have to make sure you're like hitting the beats like very hard. And then ballet always just seems so like, you know, it's on your toes. So just in that sense, it seems so different. But that's really, really cool. And then when you were dancing, like how much time did you spend in the school where you had dance as a major as well? Was it like the same amount as your normal day-to-day schooling, or how was that?
Yeah, for high school, since it was a performing arts high school, everyone had a different major, and so there was like art, music, drama, dance, and so I would spend 3 hours training in dance, and then I would go to my academic classes for the rest of the day. It was a very long day, very long.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It definitely prepared me, and I really wanted to pursue dance. It was something I was very into and inspired by, so it was awesome being able to have that experience, which not many, you know, high schoolers have in America. So
I love that so much. I love that. And I love how you guys haven't limited yourself to just one form, and you've like dabbled in a lot of different types, because I do think there's like something to learn with each form about the culture that it's from, about just so many different things. So when I was in college, I wanted to join the Bhangra team as well. I never got to it, but I was always like, oh, that's so cool. And then even recently, when I went out to LA, I was like, I want to learn hip hop and I really want to learn salsa. Those have just always been my bucket list items. So it's really awesome that you guys do that still.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, so out of all of the dance styles, right, what would you say was the easiest for you to grasp, and what was the like most challenging for you to grasp?
That's a good question. So I think for me, the most challenging, because like growing up doing ballet, as you kind of mentioned, it's very on your toes, like it's very graceful, so you pick up that grace very quickly. So for me, kind of learning hip hop and trying that out for the first time was a little difficult, just because it's very powerful and you kind of have to find that balance between having the grace but also having that texture and that power. So for me, that was kind of the most challenging. And in terms of easiest, I feel like all dance styles are similar in some way, but they're so different too. So I think contemporary, maybe, like it was a lot of this like same technique as ballet, where it's a lot like on your toes, you have to be very grounded at the same time and like keep your center a lot. So I definitely really enjoyed learning contemporary in middle school.
Yeah, I think for me, the easiest, or something that felt like it came more naturally to me, was belly dance, which I started learning when I was probably like 12, I want to say, and it was really cool because I felt like I was able to bring some of the like Bollywood training, and then also a lot of that like control and isolation that I learned through ballet into that. So I really enjoyed that, and it felt like it just kind of flowed. In terms of what's been hard, I've been recently trying to learn more kind of Afro beats, dance hall styles, and that definitely feels very different from what I'm used to in terms of, as Rishika was saying, a lot of those more like graceful styles. I think there's like more power and but also like a lot of fluidity in that. So it's been cool to try to challenge myself and try to learn that.
Yeah, and for me, in high school, I took a semester of tap, and it was the first time I had done it. And I love tap. It's so cool. I love watching it because it's so musical, and I applaud anyone who can professionally tap. But it was definitely a little bit harder for me to learn because I just wasn't used to only using my feet. Like, I'm so used to using my arms, having that be an accessory. And so only using my feet and having that stand for itself was very hard for me. And so I think moving forward, that's what I want to focus on, and I want to learn a new dance style similar to tap, or even just tap, to help myself understand that musicality better. But something that's come a little bit easier for me was hip hop. So recently, I've been training in hip hop very professionally, and it just came so naturally to me. I feel like there's a lot of style in hip hop that just came naturally, a lot of swag, and I was able to use again, like some of my Indian Bollywood training that helped me, I don't know, get into the music and feel it more, which is also kind of surprising, but definitely came a lot easier.
Yeah, I feel like Bollywood fusion does have a lot of the hip hop based steps included into it. I think the one thing that I was always growing up, I would watch a lot of those Indian dance shows like Dance India Dance.
Yes.
And I would look at the contemporary dancers and just be like, oh my God, I don't even know how they're doing these, or the acrobatics that they would do. I was like, oh my gosh. It was insane. But that's so cool. And like I said, I love how you guys diversify and you're doing a bit of everything, which is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So was this okay, when you've been dancing forever, when you decided to get on TikTok, how did that even happen? I remember I was on TikTok and then I saw your Kamaria video and I was like, it's really good. And then I didn't know it was you, because when you're just on the For You page, you're just scrolling, right? And then I saw the formation. I recognized you because of your formation. I'm like, wait, I saw another video. Are these the same people? And you guys are amazing dancers. There's no.
Thank you so much. It's so sweet.
But how did it how did this even happen? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So as we were saying, we all kind of came together at the beginning of quarantine in March. And honestly, I had never used TikTok before. I feel like it's a little beyond.
Yeah, I feel like quarantine just forced us all to get into TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I used it a bunch. And then at first we were she was like, okay, we're gonna make some fun TikTok dances. So we did a couple of trends. It was very much for fun. And then we, one of our first videos that really started to gain a lot of traction was the Onana challenge. But we did it with Dandiya sticks, so it was kind of a Ras fusion, and that just kind of blew up, and people loved it because it was a trend, but it was also a twist on a trend. And then we realized, this is super cool. We can bring our creativity, our culture to TikTok, and so we started experimenting more, working with more remixes, bringing that fusion aspect to it, and then it's really just. I feel like the rest has kind of been history. It kind of just, went really fast. It's crazy to think that we only started in March. But yeah, it wasn't something that we had necessarily planned. It was just that once we started seeing this is super fun. This is working. People really like it. People are inspired by these new fusion mixes that we're creating. That's just been very, very motivating.
That's so cool. So when you decided to do these forms, right? Or just get on TikTok, were you how does your process work? Is it okay, I just feel this, I feel inspired today, I'm gonna dance, or is it something you have to sit down, plan everything out, and then execute?
Yeah, we definitely kind of talk through it and see what each of us feels comfortable doing and what we will enjoy doing. So a lot of what we've been doing is we've been working with DJs who make these fusion mixes. So that's been really helpful to kind of get us that creativity that we need to bring, because their mixes are awesome. They'll incorporate, South Asian music, but then also some Western bops that we absolutely love. So we kind of will listen to songs, and if we're all kind of vibing with the song and we can see ourselves dancing to that, we'll solidify that song, and then we'll go ahead from there and think about what do we want to do with this? How do we see this playing out? And then we'll see if someone has a cool idea for how we can kind of add something beyond just choreography to the song. We'll kind of try that out. So it's definitely a process, and we definitely love that we get to work together to flesh out those details and make sure that we all are really enjoying what we're doing.
I love that. So you do keep that in mind, okay, we still want to have fun. It's not just this is work.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, that's something that we promised ourselves when we started. We were okay, if we're going to continue this, we have to make sure that we're having fun with it, because at the end of the day, we're really sisters first, and we want to kind of keep that bond going. And I think that's what really drives us to keep pushing this forward.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really sweet. And I like that a lot, that you do that, because I think that when you do get into this world of just content creation, it gets so easy to put that first. And then at a certain point, it just becomes more about work and less about enjoying what you do. So when you do this, this whole process, how long does that take?
Probably a couple days. So first we figure out which song we're gonna use, and then the next day we'll kind of listen to it, figure out what we want to do with the choreography. We are all together when we choreograph, so we'll just play the song. Someone will kind of move and see what happens with their bodies, and then someone else will watch and be like, "Oh, I really like that. Let's put that here in the music. Let's maybe not over there, but like let's put it on this beat because it would work really well." So we talk through it a lot, and then after we choreograph, we'll let it, like we'll sleep on it a little bit, remember it, and then the next day we'll kind of clean it, make sure we're all on the same page about the choreography, and then we'll spend a day to filming like a couple of TikTok dances so that we don't have to really get ready a couple times a week instead of every day. So we'll definitely like bulk those together and film when it's like a really nice day outside, and then once it's filmed, it's ready to post, and it's just, yeah, from there it's ready.
Do you create content every single day? Or like you post every single day, but you'll have all those prepared beforehand, right?
Yeah, we try to post every single day, post a dance every single day, but we'll sometimes batch them up in advance so that we don't have to, get ready every single day.
That's super, super cool. And when you got this traction, right? What was your initial thing? Were you like, okay, now let's keep this going? Or like, how was your initial reaction? How was your parents' reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially we were really excited.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, this is super cool. And as we said, our first priority is making sure that we're having fun and have a creative outlet. So we don't want to, put too much pressure on ourselves or get stressed about anything. So we were like, okay, this is fun. Let's definitely keep doing it. And I think honestly, what really helped us was taking it day by day. Because if you had asked us in March, we would have never thought, we'd be sitting here today talking to you, or have like all these TikTok followers or anything like that. And it's really been like, okay, let's wake up every day, like see how we're feeling, see what comes up, and really kind of just like surrender to the process, which has been a huge lesson that we've learned is like, as long as you're consistent and you're working hard, great things can come. So I feel like in retrospect, that's kind of what's worked for us. And we're also really lucky, you mentioned our parents, they've been really supportive and encouraging throughout quarantine. I feel like they honestly maybe spend more time on TikTok now than we do. They're like just constantly on it, and they're like, oh, did you see this trend? Like, you guys should do this. And I was like, I haven't even seen that yet. So yeah, they've been a huge support system for us too, which has been beautiful.
That's really sweet. I love when parents do get on board with those types of things because my mom is very similar. She does it with Instagram though, so she stalks my Instagram. She'll see everyone's comments before I see them. She'll be like, oh, that's what this one person said? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And she's like, oh, this person is saying this. But it's just, it's brown parents.
Yeah.
All right, so my next question for you guys is, so you said you get your inspiration for your choreography just like by having your body move to it, right? Do you have like a certain, like, okay, today I think I want to do a bhangra piece, or like, is it like that, or is it just very much just, okay, I'm playing this music, I feel like this hip hop thing would work better, I feel like this bhangra thing would work better, and then you just go about it like that?
Yeah, I think it varies. I think something that we've learned with like choreography is that it's so fluid and it can change so easily. So like even if we have an idea going in like, oh, this is how we want this mix to look, sometimes we'll play the mix and we'll actually hear like another beat that sticks out and we'll be like, oh, this would be a really cool moment for a bhangra move. So one of the dances that we had done was Tesher's mix to Young Shahrukh. And that when we heard it, we were like, oh, we can do Bollywood and hip hop. But then as we were listening to the mix and as we were kind of dancing, I was like, oh wait, like two bhangra moves would look really, really cool here. So it definitely is like a very fluid process, but there will be days if for example, if I hear a song and I'm like, oh, this could be a really cool bhangra hip hop song, then I'll be like, okay, let's do something with this now. So definitely there's variation like day to day depending on how we are listening to the music and how we really hear the beats.
Yeah, and adding on to that, I think when we do film the dances, we're still open to changing stuff. So sometimes we'll film it and we'll be like, this just doesn't seem right. Like it's not working on our bodies. Let's change it to something that makes more sense. And so just being open to that and making sure that we are open to change is really important.
And given that you guys each have your fortes in dance, do you let that person take the lead? Is that how you kind of figure out the choreo? Like, okay, this is more Latin. This has a more Latin beat. Maybe Omi will take care of this, or like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think we try to feel that out and allow space for that. I think we naturally kind of gravitate towards different styles, so it's really helpful actually to have three minds. Who, like, we all love to dance, but then we all have our different strengths, as you mentioned. So yeah, I think we just like try to feel it out and like let people take on what they feel most comfortable with, and honestly, what they feel most excited about. Because like if I'm giving choreography that I'm like, oh, I don't really feel this, like it's not going to come out great. So I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I love this. Like, I can see myself moving to this. I feel inspired. So really asking myself that before I take it on.
Okay, awesome. All right, now I want to actually talk about what is your favorite or most memorable dance moment from your entire dance career?
That's a really good question. So for me, I think it has to be when I started college and I joined my collegiate Ross team. I think that was a very memorable moment for me. One of the first competitions we went to was such an exciting moment, just because we had grown up dancing, and I always thought that dance was something that you just do by yourself and for yourself. I never really realized that it can be something bigger than yourself, and you can do something in like a team dynamic and kind of have a goal that's larger than yourself. So that really kind of shaped how I view dance now. And I think that has really helped me, especially like dancing with my sisters. I realized, wow, this is something that's bigger than the three of us, and we can work together to make like one amazing thing. So that's definitely one of my most memorable moments in dance.
Yeah, so for me, a few years after college, I actually moved to India and lived in New Delhi for a couple of years before I went to grad school. And when I moved there, I didn't know anybody. I had moved there all by myself for work. It was a really scary time.
You were by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I moved there by myself. I wanted to work in the social sector, so I found a cool job. Moved there, like didn't think much, and then one way that I decided to find community in this new place that I was living in was by getting involved with dance. And what I ended up doing was actually I got very involved in the Latin dance community in Delhi, and then I got to compete at an Asia-wide salsa competition in 2018, which was super exciting. And I placed, which was like awesome.
That's so cool.
The cherry on top of it, but it was amazing to me to feel like, oh, I'm in this new country, I don't know anybody, but dance can kind of connect me to all these people, and I can continue to challenge myself, continue to learn something new, and it was just a really empowering experience for me, so I'll never forget that.
Yeah, and for me, like I mentioned, I go to Georgia Tech, and it's located in Atlanta, Georgia, and so I'm also on the dance team there. So last year in 2019, during the Super Bowl, which was in Atlanta, Georgia, my dance team got invited to dance at the halftime show, and so that has been like hands down the best memory.
Oh my gosh!
Like being 5 feet away from Adam Levine at rehearsals for them, and like Travis Scott was just so cool. It was like a dream come true, and like it definitely has inspired me to hopefully pursue dance, potentially as a career after, and like be a backup dancer for these amazing artists.
That's
like
so
Maroon
cool.
5 and Travis Scott.
Okay, these are awesome dance memories. I have nothing compared to these. That's so cool. And like, do you think like, so you guys are studying different things in college, right? Like not just dance. Do you think that you want to dance professionally now after this exposure you've gotten? Or is it always just going to be a hobby, that side, like your side hustle sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that for the three of us, like together, we want to keep dancing together and keep this going. For me personally, I definitely have realized how much I enjoy dancing, and something that I was really worried about because I actually just graduated from college. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't dance in some way. So this has really inspired me to keep going and keep finding new opportunities, and to kind of keep that momentum going in literally any way that I can. So I'm definitely open to any opportunities, and I'm definitely not going to just like give this up anytime soon at all. So
yeah, as we were reflecting, I think something I thought when I was younger was that, you know, especially training in ballet and things like that, I thought, okay, there's an expiration date to when I can dance. It's like, okay, after I go to college, I'm not gonna dance anymore. And I realized that ever since I graduated from college, like dance has been such a huge part of my life. I can't imagine life without it. I mean, I've moved to like 4 different cities and made so many different friends and things, but dance has always been that constant. That's really grounded me. And this has been a great time for me to reflect and realize that I'm not going to let that go no matter what. I think, you know, I have other career interests as well, but I think dance also helps me kind of round myself out as a person. And it's really important for me to keep that as a part of myself. So I definitely want to continue to make it a priority, whether that's through, I'll definitely continue training, but also maybe get involved in more competition, social dancing, performances, all of that. I love it. And I'm so grateful that I have this.
Yeah, and just adding on to what they said, I mean, obviously after I graduate college, I want to have a full-time engineering job, but what's really cool is I can also choose to go professionally in dance. And I think one of my goals now is to become a professional, NBA or NFL cheerleader, because that's just something I've always wanted to do. And knowing that that's possible with having a full-time job is definitely one of my goals.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. And so when, okay, so you dance so much. Have you ever had really bad stage fright? And if you have, how have you conquered it?
I don't know.
Because I feel like everyone, right, to a certain extent, whether it's like speaking or dancing or whatever it is, like we all get stage fright.
Yeah.
So what's your, how do you deal with it?
I don't know. We've like literally grown up on the stage. Like we've like ever since we were so young, we've been dancing on stages, and we actually competed in beauty pageants when we were younger. So that helped
You
us
did?
Yeah, we did. That helped us gain a lot of confidence when we were younger. And so I don't have like any specific memories of being scared on stage, but definitely like being pushed to be on stage, be in front of crowds since we were young has helped us so much with our confidence. Not just with dance, but also like public speaking. Like a lot of us have been involved in college with public speaking like organizations, and we just have a lot of experience with that now because we were able to dance on stages when we were younger. So it's helped us so much. But do you guys have any memories?
I think I don't have a specific memory, but I think something that helps is like visualization and just like positive thinking before going on stage. I think there's always like a certain element of maybe not stage fright, but like some kind of nerve, like a little bit of anxiety, of course. And you're like, oh, all these people are here, like it's really exciting. Like you almost feel too energized sometimes.
Yeah.
So like that's how I go, like, oh my god, I'm so excited. So I need to like calm myself down. And I think something that helps me is just like breathing, like sitting with myself beforehand and just like imagining myself doing well on stage, like not having bad images, and also imagining all the people that are watching, like enjoying watching me. So thinking like, oh, they're here to support me. Like it's not something that's like antagonistic. So just like realizing like, okay, I'm here to share something with an audience, and they're here to listen to it, and it's gonna go well. So just like thinking of it positively, I think always is a good reminder.
Yeah, and I think for me, I have definitely felt those nerves, or you just kind of feel this like extra excitement. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to kind of channel those nerves into like adrenaline and just remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing and how much I really enjoy it. I know that before I've danced on stage, I have felt that a little bit, but then I'll just sit back and be like, listen, this is what you love doing. You've practiced, like you got this, right? Like the one thing that you can control when you go on stage is yourself. And so just thinking like that really helps me to kind of channel that into adrenaline and excitement.
Very helpful. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Right. Actually, I feel the same way when it comes to dancing. I feel like it's so good just in terms of like being comfortable being in public. And that's helped me in like every facet later on after. But it's like still one of those things where like when you're first on stage and there's like this huge crowd, you're like, oh, okay, like butterflies. But I love the advice that you guys gave. And I'm like trying to figure out which questions I want to ask you. There's a bunch on here. Okay, so what are some of your hobbies and extracurriculars outside of dance?
Oh, you go first.
Okay, I can go first. So outside of dancing, I'm also a yoga teacher, and I'm really passionate about health and wellness and meditation and spirituality and things like that. So I try to incorporate that into my daily life, and I've been kind of on that path for about 6 years now. So that's just an important part of my life, and I really enjoy sharing that with other people too. I think I got into yoga actually probably because I grew up dancing. I've always been really passionate about body awareness and all of that. So that's a big part of my life too.
Yeah, when I'm not dancing, I really like to focus on like art and painting. I wouldn't say I'm really great at it, but I just like to like paint. It makes me more calm. And then also just growing up, I've always found interest in puzzles. So I really just like solving puzzles. Yeah, like figuring out like, I don't know, just doing random stuff like Rubik's Cubes and stuff.
Like, okay, like, or like, have you ever done like Sudoku?
Yeah, I literally love doing that. It just makes me so calm for some reason. I know it doesn't make other people calm, but like,
no, I make me calm too.
Yeah, it's just it's such a nice activity to do when you're alone, and I don't know, just like solving puzzles and keeping my mind activated the entire time. So.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, and for me, so I'm starting law school in the fall. And so in
Whoa.
high school, I did speech and debate for 4 years, and that really incited my interest in just being more civically engaged. And I really enjoy working with political campaigns. That's something that I've been doing all throughout college, so I really have enjoyed that. And besides that, I also really love music, and we grew up playing a few instruments, so it's always been something that I've wanted to continue in some way. So I've really been wanting to learn how to DJ. I've downloaded some softwares and trying to figure out how to figure that out and hopefully make mixes one day that we can dance to. So keeping my fingers crossed for that.
I'm so inspired by how active you guys are. I feel like you guys do everything. Like I cannot have excuses for not doing things now. Like, okay, how do you make time for all this? Like, what are your tips on productivity, time management, and actually making time to do all these things that you love?
Yeah, it definitely takes practice. We've been dancing a lot since we were younger, and dance is one of those art forms where you need to spend time practicing. So it is difficult, like balancing that with school. Growing up, we would always have dance class right after school. We didn't have much time to do our homework, so we really have to squeeze that in. So time management was super important growing up, and our parents really instilled that in us when we were growing up. But just in college specifically, I really love my calendar. I put everything on my calendar. I allot time to each and every activity I do, whether that's like eating dinner. Like I have a slot for that on my calendar just to make sure that I'm getting everything done, and I'm getting everything done for my extracurriculars and organizations, and then also my dance team, being an athlete, and then being a student in general. So it's really important to just like time manage and make sure everything is out there on the calendar so I can see it.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, of course, calendaring is very important. I think it's also really important to establish boundaries for yourself and also to communicate those boundaries to other people. So for me specifically, ever since I started working, I think something that's helped me is I've been lucky that my coworkers have been supportive of all the other things going on in my life. And I say like, okay, I have these limits, like this is when I'm gonna, like this evening I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this on the weekends, like I'm not gonna do X, Y, and Z, because I think I realized that in order for me to show up fully to all of my other commitments, it's important for me to dance and to practice yoga and do all of that. So being really upfront, both with myself and with others. So I think a lot of us, and I'm sure you can relate too, is like, we love being workaholics and kind of like diving deep into everything we're doing. And I feel like sometimes I can get a little carried away. So I need people to say like, hey, did you remember to do this? Like you told me to remind you. So just like holding myself accountable, but also finding people to hold me accountable too is really important.
Yeah, for me, I've noticed that the days when I am not dancing or when I'm not doing something other than academics, I find it really difficult to just be fully present with anything else that I'm doing. So I'll always try to make time to do what I feel passionate about and what I want to pick up. And something that Ashika mentioned that I think is really important is just that patience. I know whenever I pick up something new, it's really easy to feel disheartened really easily just because that reward might not come right away. So just reminding myself that things take time, and as long as I am committed to allotting time to that, then I eventually will get to the place where I want to be.
And when you do this calendar thing, right? Like the activity, do you plan that like the day of? Do you plan that a week in advance?
It depends on what activities are on my schedule. So definitely there are events that I'm going to know about before the school year even starts. Right. I just got to put those all on, like football games, basketball games, stuff like that, like dance team related. But then adding it on as the day goes is also just important. So I know what I'm doing in my day. I really like to know what I'm going to do the day before the day happens. So I can be prepared with whatever I need to like show up to and have everything I need, all my materials in my backpack, all of that.
Wow. Okay. Like I said, I'm inspired to now do more because I feel like I'm not doing enough. Seriously, like this is really cool. And I think that's something that I watched your YouTube video and I was like, oh my God, like these girls do everything. Like, yeah, I can. You do everything. Which is, it's just so inspiring. So inspiring.
Thank you. And we're equally inspired by you and everything that you've done.
Yeah.
We've been following your journey since you were at Miss USA, so it's been just incredible.
Really?
Oh
my God. No way.
Yes,
I literally remember watching that competition, and I remember like rooting for you and Kyra because Kyra was like in STEM, and I was so inspired by her. And then you were like an Indian American in that position too. So it was so exciting to see you both like getting on stage. Like one of you about to be crowned Miss USA, and it's been awesome keeping up with the Miss USA competitions. All of the people there are just so inspiring. I actually had a chance to meet Kyra back in 2017, and it was just such an amazing experience.
Where did you meet her?
So I was doing an internship at the American Museum of Natural History the summer after my senior year of high school, and I just like randomly DM'd her, and I was like, hey, like, want to come to the museum? I'll give you a tour. And she responded, and she came to the museum, and it was so cool. Like, she was one of my inspirations. You're one of my inspirations.
Yeah,
so,
she's really sweet. She's so sweet.
Yeah. So she got to come, and it was just so cool to have someone who was also interested in STEM and a person of color to be able to relate to that and be inspired by that.
Aw, that means so much. Thanks, guys. All right, moving on to the next question. Okay. I'm trying to see which of these I want to ask. Okay. Where do you think that after quarantine is over and when you guys go back to your different cities, how are you going to make time to continue dancing together? Have you thought of that, or is that something that's kind of like, okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we've been thinking about. As much as we're trying to stay in the present moment, we're also aware that quarantine's not going to last forever, and we might not be in the same place very soon. So we've been trying to kind of get ahead of that, try to make content that we can save for later, and also we're already thinking about when we're not together, how we can have reunions and come together, maybe once every few weeks or every month or something like that. To meet up and create the content, because it's something that we do really care about and we've enjoyed it so much. We definitely want to maintain this momentum as much as we can. So we're trying to figure that out, but it'll continue in some way.
Mm-hmm. So what cities are you going to be in after quarantine? I know.
So I'll be in Boston.
Okay.
I'll be in New Hampshire and Hanover.
And I'll be in Atlanta, back from
Okay, so it's all on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Same
Time zone, so.
Same time zone.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we are family, so we'll find ourselves back in the same spot no matter what, back in New York.
So on the note of family, what would you say is the best and worst part about working with your family?
Well, the best part is that we've literally grown up dancing together ever since I can remember. Like, we would go to these Indian parties, we'd prepare dances and perform. So it's been so fun to be able to put that now onto the internet and have other people see that, not just our family and friends. So that's the best part. Does someone want to do the worst?
Yeah, well, I think that's probably the
You don't
worst
have to do the
part.
worst,
It's
there's
really
no
hard
worst.
to think of a worst part, because I feel like even the worst parts are kind of a blessing. I think, to be perfectly honest, we all have an age difference, and we've never worked on something together. We're very close, but it's different than trying to do something kind of professionally. So in the beginning, we definitely had our fair share of figuring things out, figuring out what roles people are good at, giving each other feedback. We try to be very direct and open, but that can be hard because it's family at the end of the day. You don't want to be mean to anyone, but you also want to create something great. So kind of towing that line between being family, unconditional love, but then also unconditional constructive feedback is also kind of hard. But honestly, it's been great because I think we've been able to get past that phase pretty fast because we already have a base level of trust and understanding and knowledge about each other. So it's probably happened faster, I think, than it might happen with people that are not your family.
Not your family, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So do you want to move on to the rapid fire? I think we have 20 minutes left.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we're excited to hear these questions.
Okay. So, I saw that you guys were rewatching the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
I love Harry Potter.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask you a few Harry Potter trivia questions, if that's cool.
Oh no.
It's not hard, I promise. It's nothing too crazy. I was looking at these questions online, and some of these were really, really detailed questions, so I didn't pick those. They're pretty general.
Okay.
So, what position does Harry play on the Quidditch team?
Snitch guy.
He's the The Seeker?
The Seeker.
Seeker, yeah. Okay, okay. There's only 4 more, okay? What magical talent does Harry share with Voldemort?
He can speak to snakes.
Oh.
Okay, 2. All right. What is Harry's Patronus?
It's
the deer.
Yeah. Deer?
Yeah, stag.
Stag.
Okay. Okay. 3 on 3.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. 4. How many unforgivable curses are there, and can you name them?
Okay,
Three.
three.
Okay.
Abracadabra.
Okay, no, the one where you Avada Kedavra is where you kill someone.
Okay.
There's the Crucio curse, where I think you torture.
Yeah.
What's the third one?
What's the third one?
I can't remember. This is like in the Prisoner of
Azkaban. Hold on. Kill, torture.
It was in the 4th movie.
5th movie.
5th?
Yeah.
It was in the 5th movie. Oh no, but I think he gets. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so it's the Imperious Curse. That's the one where you can control the actions.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a tricky one. Okay, last one. Okay.
Okay.
How many Horcruxes are there,
7.
and can you name them?
Okay.
Okay. The first one is the snake, Nagini. Then there's Harry Potter. He's a Horcrux. He doesn't know he is. There is a locket.
The
Like interesting.
The Ravenclaw thing.
There's like a
The crown.
The die.
The die. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The diadem.
The diadem. Yes.
The trophy from
The trophy.
Gringotts.
Yeah. From Gringotts.
We literally just went over these.
Oh, the diary. Tom Riddle's diary is one
Yep.
of them. What's the last one? We were just reviewing
they went
these.
to Hogwarts to get 2 of them. One was the crown, and what was the other? The ring. Is it the ring?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a ring.
Yes. Okay. Go.
Okay, those are all the questions I had. But
Amazing.
I wouldn't have been able to remember them. I was trying to name them myself, and I'm like, what were the 7? Okay, so that was really good. You're up to date on your Harry Potter trivia. That's very important knowledge. All right. Now these are just like random, okay? Totally random.
Okay.
What were your favorite cartoons growing up?
So we weren't really allowed to watch cartoons growing up.
Really?
I have an answer for this though.
Oh, you watch cartoons?
Yeah, Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one.
Okay.
That wasn't like when I was like really little
Yeah.
though. It was like when I was a little bit older.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Mine was
Phineas and Ferb.
probably Arthur. No, I don't watch them.
Arthur?
Like PBS, like all the PBS.
Oh.
Yeah.
All the PBS.
Yeah, but our
PBS.
parents didn't allow us to watch like
Nickelodeon.
or like
Cartoon
Cartoon
Network.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, like
Oh my God.
Fairly Odd.
Yeah, Fairly Odd and SpongeBob. I've literally.
Yeah, I've
watched
never seen
those.
SpongeBob.
You've never seen SpongeBob?
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, no.
Oh my god.
I need to watch.
Wow. But did they have a reason for not letting you watch? Did they just think it was inappropriate or something?
I think so.
Yeah, I think maybe. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the cartoons, like they have some like very like some jokes are kind of can be.
They had some
Not
innuendos, but I don't think kids would understand them.
Yeah,
I didn't understand
yeah.
them, at least at the time.
But
And
I
now
think
they're not.
like, our parents let us watch Disney Channel, but not like cartoons for some reason. But like the ones that we did watch were like Phineas and Ferb and Kim Possible. That's what I remember.
Yeah, those Disney Channel back in the day. Disney
What's
Channel back.
what's your favorite?
My favorite? Okay. I mean, I watch TV all the time apparently because I was talking to my brother about this a few days ago. I love Totally Spies. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, okay.
Was so good. I rewatched it like last week and I was like,
It's on
oh my God.
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. This is actually a good show because I like loved watching it just as much.
Okay, we're gonna check it out. We've been looking for new things to watch.
You've never watched Avatar, right? You
We've
should
never
watch it.
watched it. but
You
I've
need
heard,
to
like,
watch
great
it.
reviews.
It's so
Okay, we
good.
will.
So good. Okay. If you could be any mythical creature, which one would you be?
Wow.
Oh.
That's a really hard question.
Where are we gonna?
I don't even think I know enough mythical creatures to pick.
All I can think of is
Really?
like a unicorn.
Or like a
Or
dragon.
dragon.
Yeah, unicorn, dragons, mermaids,
Oh, mermaid.
I think I'd be a dragon.
Pegasus, Pegasi.
Oh,
Pegasus.
Pegasus.
Oh, that's
That's
wonderful.
wonderful.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would. Okay, I think. Yeah, I'd probably be a unicorn actually.
Unicorn.
I think I'd be a dragon.
I don't know what I would be. That's so hard. I would also be a dragon. I think
Yeah, I could see you as a dragon.
Yeah. I think I'm like. Yeah. Just.
Okay, so we have 2 dragons and then we have 1 unicorn. Okay. If you could, okay, describe each other in 1 word. So like each one describe the others in 1 word.
Ooh, okay. Do you want to go first?
Okay, I would say Ashika is level-headed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, that's a hyphenated word.
Okay.
And I would say Omika is organized.
Okay, okay, I will say, Ashika is, I guess calling you an engineer is like a cop-out. So I'll just say you are a problem solver, like hyphenated. And then, and Rishika is light. Actually, brings light into a room or like to anyone.
I would say Vishika is compassionate, and then Omika is, I don't know how to, I want to say like organized. So I don't know how to say this in 1 word, but like she's organized, but she has a lot of stuff going on. Like she just like has a lot of tabs open in her brain. But
Multitasker?
she like gets her work done. So like if that was 1 word.
Like she's a multitasker, I guess?
Yeah, multitasker, I guess. Yeah, just like a lot of stuff going on. Like if you ever see her computer, there like she has like so many tabs open.
But she's still organized despite
But
it.
she's organized. Exactly.
Got it. Okay. What is the best thing that happened to you this month?
Ooh, this month we're in June, so.
I started my internship, which has been fun. I've been interning at a construction company.
Let's see. Did you have one? Best, like absolute best thing that happened. Actually, I know. I feel like because over the past few months in the beginning of quarantine, it was still like my school term was going on, so I feel like I didn't have a ton of like free time in the evenings or even on the weekends because I was like always doing homework and things. But I feel like ever since June started, when I started my internship too, I feel like I've had more time to get outside and like walk outside with my parents and just like get some fresh air. So that's been really nice. Like summertime in New York, even though we can't enjoy it to its full extent, it's still like I feel like it's been a joyful time outside.
This is so hard. So I'll be honest, I haven't been doing much just because I graduated. I'm like taking a break this summer and really not. I'm watching so much Netflix. So growing up in Brooklyn, we had this like deli place where we loved eating their eggplant subs. So we have been missing that so much. But recently, we kind of figured out how to make something similar at home. So it's been really exciting to have that. It's the best thing that happens.
It's the little things in life, honestly. It's the little things in life.
Yes, it was very exciting.
Yeah,
it was very exciting.
This eggplant parm that we made is like I literally crave it as I speak about it. Like, I can taste it in my mouth. It's so good.
Well, you'll need to pass on the recipe because I've been trying to practice my cooking, so I could always use more like things to practice. Oh, and congratulations on graduating.
Thank you.
That's awesome. How was it? Like, what was your experience like? I know you didn't have your normal graduation, but
yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah, so they basically had planned. They had like a week worth of like a week of programming just for graduation. So they had everything virtual. They had every like ceremony and stuff. They had all that pre-recorded. So graduation day was so funny. I like woke up. I rolled out of bed. I was like in my PJs, sitting in the kitchen, and I graduated. So it was definitely very different from what it would have been. But my school said that they're committed to doing something in the fall. So hopefully we'll have something in person. But they made it as special as it could be at home.
That's
so
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an unusual graduation, I guess, but it's memorable.
True. I'll never forget it. So.
You'll never forget it. Okay, we have like 11 minutes, so okay, we have time for more questions. What is your favorite place in the whole world? Like a place you have visited or one you want to visit?
This is really hard. You go.
Okay, I can go. I think my favorite place that I have visited was the Angkor Wat temple in Cambodia. So after college, I lived in Cambodia for a little while. I was doing a fellowship there, and I got to travel kind of all over the country, which was super interesting. I was like doing that also by myself. And I visited the Angkor Wat temple, which was super cool because it like was created as a Hindu temple, but then it has like all these Buddhist influences, and it was just like the most magical thing ever. It's a gigantic temple complex, and I got to see the sunrise over it, which was like so amazing. And it was also like at the same time around Diwali, and I was feeling like a little homesick because I was by myself in this other country, but then I got to like experience the sunrise at this temple. It was just like amazing. I'll never forget it. So
you moved to India by yourself, and you traveled the world by yourself too. That's awesome. Were you like, how is that even like? I went to Las Vegas by myself. That was the extent of that. But what is it like to travel by yourself?
I love it. I think there was a lot of what I did kind of like in my early 20s. It was something that I'd always wanted to do, was like to live abroad, to work abroad, and to have those experiences. And it was just incredibly empowering because I didn't really imagine that I could do that, but I feel like every day I kind of pushed my limits and thought like, oh, I can't do this, but then I would do it, and I would be like, oh wow, like you can do this. And now it feels like when I look back, I'm like, oh, I did all of that, nothing really seems hard anymore. So it was just an incredibly empowering experience. And I like traveling by myself. I feel like I'm able to like kind of make my own itinerary, do my own thing. But I think I've also realized like it's also fun to travel with people sometimes. So have that balance going forward. But yeah, it's like some of my best memories.
Very, very cool.
Oh, I was gonna say my favorite place I've been to so far was Barcelona. I studied abroad after my freshman year of college in France, and I got to go to a bunch of different countries throughout the whole summer, which was really fun, and I got to do it with friends. And so Barcelona was just so special because there was so much culture there, and then it was obviously like by the beach. There was so much nice scenery. Being able to like wake up and see this like sunrise, and then also see the sunset, and I don't know, it was just such a beautiful place. But yeah. Definitely my times in Europe were really just beautiful.
I've always wanted to go to Barcelona. It's on my bucket list.
It's really fun.
And then for me, so in 2016, after I graduated from high school, we took a sister's trip to Colombia, and it was so much fun because I had never been, I don't think the three of us had ever been together somewhere like alone without our parents. It was the first time we'd gone. We went to Bogota, Cartagena, went to all these cities, and it was so amazing to just see like the vibes there were the best. Like that is one place that I've wanted to go back ever since we went in 2016. So I definitely want to go back there. It was such an amazing experience. I'd taken Spanish in high school for like 3 years, so I was like, oh, I can try and speak Spanish and kind of.
How was that? Were you able to manage?
I was. It was surprisingly not too bad. Like if we would Uber somewhere, I would speak to the driver a little bit. Obviously, I would preface it with, I've only taken Spanish for like a few years, so I'm still learning. But they were all, it was super welcoming. Like the vibes were just so great and positive. We loved it.
Okay, 3 more places to add to my bucket list. That's why I asked that question, not gonna lie.
That's great.
Okay, if you could be in any Harry Potter house, which one would you be in? We're bringing it back to Harry Potter. Or which one are you most like?
I think Ravenclaw. Right? For you. Okay. Yeah. I think I'm Ravenclaw.
What, do you want to put me in a house, maybe?
I think you're Slytherin.
Oh my god, I knew you would say that! That's awful!
Just super straightforward with that one.
I think some of my like closest friends are Slytherin.
Oh, okay, fine.
Well, they're supposed to be ambitious. They're very ambitious people.
Right, they like power.
I
think you're Gryffindor.
No, I think I am, because I think that this is something probably really basic to say, but I don't know. I think I'm pretty like courageous. I think I'm a pretty like I'm passionate about stuff, and I don't step down to speak about what I'm passionate about. So I would say I'm like courageous in that way, I think. And I think I'm brave. I don't know. I'm pretty spontaneous. I don't know if that is in line with being brave. So yeah.
It works. Okay. What is your zodiac sign?
I'll go first. So I'm an Aries, born in April.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Sagittarius, and I feel like I identify with that.
Strong Sagittarius.
What?
You're a strong Sagittarius.
Yes.
And I'm a Libra. I was born in October.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's so weird. Like every time I read the Zodiacs, they're always like Capricorns are super pessimistic. All they do is complain all the time. And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm pessimistic at all.
No.
But I don't 100% believe in like
Yeah,
I don't like the predictions that newspapers and like articles say.
it's very like iffy for me because some of them are like, oh, they're super ambitious, they're very like work focused, which I totally feel like I am in line with. But then when it comes to like they like are always bringing people down, they don't like I'm like that's not me. At least I hope it's not me.
Yeah.
Okay, we have like 5 more minutes, so I'm gonna do like a few more. What is, hold on, I'm gonna pull up different ones. Okay. Okay, what songs are on your playlist right now?
Ooh.
So I listen to really basic music. I listen to literally like the today's top hits. But ever since we started this like TikTok account, I've been listening to a lot more Indian music. And I've also been experimenting with like Indian contemporary dance styles. So I've been listening to a lot of like Arjit Singh and and a lot of that style. And yeah, I've just been listening to that and trying to like be inspired to make some choreography for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I go through phases like every week. I'm like, oh, I love this, and I'll like add different things to my Spotify. I feel like in the past week I've been listening to a lot of soca music. Which, like, it's pretty random, but I've gotten like on that. And I also like found a lot of TikTok dances like that, so I'm like trying to learn them and just for fun.
Very similar. I kind of go through phases where one week I'll like a certain style, the next week I'll be listening to something else. But I think one like music style that's been consistent that I've liked since high school is reggaeton music. So I love Ozuna and Bad Bunny. I went to a Bad Bunny concert earlier last year, so I've just been listening to like his new albums, and they all have so much music. So I love listening to like the reggaeton hits on Spotify. It's awesome.
Okay, again, very diverse music taste. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Everything happens for a reason. I really just believe that. I think that if something bad happens, it's supposed to happen, and it's going to open up doors to, you know, another opportunity. So just like if something doesn't work out the way that it's supposed to work out, there's a reason for that, and something else will come out of it.
Yeah, the best piece of advice I've ever received is to show up. And I think that just means like to commit to your practice or to commit to whatever you want to achieve. I think oftentimes you try to like control a lot of external factors, but I feel like the only thing I can control is like the work that I put in. So I try to like show up fully, decide to, you know, do something every day, and then the results will come. So that's something I think showing up is really important.
Yeah, that's the best piece of advice that I've actually gotten from Omika that she's told me. So that's really helped me being away at college, kind of even in like things that I'll do outside of academics. Like if I don't think that I'm capable of doing something, I'll show up, as she said, and I'll push myself to do it and actually end up loving everything new that I try. So that's, yeah, I got it from Omika.
Okay, and now we have like a minute and 30 seconds left. So, okay, last question, okay? On an ending note, what would you say is your life motto or something that you would want to be remembered by?
Mine is always be inspired. Just a quick like story behind it. I volunteered at an all-girls like STEM camp during high school, and it was for girls that were aged like 8 to 13 years old. And I was so excited to give back to that community and make sure that they were able to pursue careers in STEM, because I am pursuing a career in STEM. And so that was the motto of the camp: always be inspired. And I want young people to see me and, you know, always be inspired and know that they have a place in arts and STEM, even if they're a person of color or a girl.
Yeah, I think mine is to live fully and to shine bright. I think that everybody has so much potential in them, and oftentimes society tells us like, you know, you can't do this or this is a limitation and all of that. And I think I just want myself and everyone to feel like they can really live up to that full potential and contribute to the world in a meaningful, positive way, and that's something I care about.
Right, 25 seconds.
Oh God, real quick. Mine would probably be justice in some way. I really care. I think I always really care about doing what I believe is right and things that fall within my moral compass and how I view things. So just thinking critically and fighting for like a more just world in any way that I can.
Oh, I love that. All right, so we're about to end, but thank you guys so much for coming. It was so
Thanks
great
for having
meeting you.
us. Thanks so much for having us.